lies that I heard in a dumb sermon. What I unearthed got me uncertain. More knowledge and more sorrow. Worrying that never fix tomorrow. Just take away all my strength today. It was black and white, but not paper gray. Maybe that cloud that I been stuck in. I constructed, I conducted. Orchestra a noise, I don't hear your voice. I done made the choice. My consumption of TV, tablet, tweeting, twerking, gramming, gaming, rapping, working, fashion, working. Can't tell if my mind I just made it. My faith I misplaced it. My pain I upgraded. Lost my happy thought, then I got jaded. Focus in my direction, in details and perfection. All my faith in white Jesus and my leaders. They weren't who I thought all these years. They weren't even worth of your tears. The opposite of faith ain't doubt. Yeah, it's when I get it all figured out. Some days you're getting all my trust. Some days I can feel so empty. Some days I feel like you love me. Some days I feel like you left me.
The second I'm furious with God, I'm totally close. Because you cannot be furious with somebody who's not there.
Hi everyone, this video is a testimony of sorts, so if you'd like, you're welcome to check this out. So anyways, one of my absolute favorite things to do is make and edit videos. Although for some reason, I just don't often have the motivation or energy to do them. Sometimes I'll start working on one and then never finish it. And to clarify, I'm not referring to like these kind of videos, because I'm obviously still doing them, but like music video, like fun video kind of things. And that's what this whole post is about, but I'll get to that. But anyways, I think at least a part of it is just that the exhaustion that I believe a lot of the body of Christ right now has been feeling for a little while, right? Like, we're all just so worn out and tired of this world, and it's really hard to care about anything that's not gonna last much longer. But anyways, if you know me personally, you know that I take a lot of videos in my everyday life. I would say I don't really do it as much now, but I especially used to take tons of videos like a few years or so ago. Part of that was just about not wanting to forget a memory so I could hold on to it longer. And I think another purpose of it was, well, it was to, for a lot of them, to be able to have clips to make, like music type videos with, like stuff like that, right? And, the video that I want to show here, I don't know if I'll be allowed to, given the copyright music, so we'll see how that goes. But anyways, hopefully that works. But the randomness of the clips, it doesn't necessarily tell much of a cohesive story on its own. However, the lyrics to the songs, I would say, end up adding to these, could very easily say everything that I'm thinking while I myself say nothing, right? I can let the music speak for me, if that makes sense. But anyways, this video in particular that I posted June 2020 features clips from maybe the past 1 to 3 years before then. But yeah, anyways, I'll just say that I grew up a Christian, being one my whole life. And while I had times over the years where I felt close to God or that I was on the right path, I found myself never really truly being very consistent with it, right? Like I wouldn't stick with it for very long, like not focusing on God, right? And it wasn't until I think around 2022 or so where I really just stopped one day and cried out to God and told him I'm so sick and tired of being sick and tired. And there's just way too much to tell here. But I had been through a lot over the years at that point, like mentally and physically, with like all my skin problems, like severely bad. And I don't know, there's just a lot to go into. But all that to say that I was in an interesting place in my life when I made this video. Like, God was calling me, but I wasn't quite fully listening. But at the same time, he also never really left, right? Never forget this. God isn't the one who moves. If you feel distant from God, he's not the one who moved. Now, I don't know how to fully differentiate the difference between like a backslider and a prodigal son and someone who's lukewarm. So I didn't fully, and I'm not sure that I still fully 100% for sure that if at the time I even was really truly saved. But I will say that there's, again, there's never been a point in my life where I didn't fully believe in God, right? I think that's very important to note. But I can certainly say that if you were to assume at the time, based on my fruits or lack of fruits, I don't know, it may not look very good. Sure, I wasn't bad by the world's standards, but the world's standards are completely, completely irrelevant, right? When it comes to this, right? Um, and sure, we're not saved by works, but if you love God, you'll have that deep desire in you to want to do good works. And let me tell you, I feel like I was honestly pretty selfish. I don't know if I'm over exaggerating with this or under exaggerating, but bottom line, I lived every day not knowing whether or not I was going to heaven when I died. And that terrified me. And those reoccurring thoughts of the unassurance I lived with was one of the main things that helped me finally get to my breaking point that it was all boiling down to, like, for so long, for so many years, to that breaking point on just a random day in 2022. God will just plant these little seeds here and there and there, and He knows absolutely everything. So He knows exactly what it will take to getting your attention. One thing that really made me realize just how bad it was when I realized that if I didn't tell people I was a Christian, I don't think they would even know. That's when you know it's bad. When you notice people start asking you things like, hey, are you religious? Or, hey, aren't you like a Christian or something? If they have to ask if you're a Christian, it means they can't see it. And chances are you're failing miserably at representing Christ if He even resides in your heart at all. But anyways, all that to say that over the years, despite rarely going to church for years, and despite opening my Bible so rarely that I would go months at a time, sometimes not even knowing in my room where my Bible even was. And every so often I would say, the sinner's prayer again, trying to get resaved because I didn't understand how it works, living in fear that God took away my salvation. But, and that's a whole other conversation on whether or not that's possible. But where I'm at now, my understanding is that if you somehow lost it, you never even truly had it. Because God is all-knowing, so what would be the point in Him giving it to you? Already knowing He's going to just take it right back from you. Why would God give you it if He knows He's taking it back? It doesn't really make sense. If you were to tell me, if I were to know in advance that I was just going to take this gift right back from you, why would I even give it to you in the first place? Does that make sense? I think that makes sense, but what do I know? But what I was going to say is that despite all of that, one of the true constants in my life when it comes to anything related to God, had always been Christian music. So regardless of hardly ever going to church or hardly ever opening my Bible or not praying very often, the one constant thing was that I didn't really listen to much like secular music. I usually stuck with Christian music, that was like comforting to me. It felt safe. It just felt wrong to listen to like really bad music. So I didn't really listen to much like secular stuff, right? And I wasn't necessarily someone to just randomly listen to like straight up worship music, but bands that either were or identified as Christian bands. Although some of those bands rarely even mentioned God, which is perhaps a little concerning, but again, that's a whole other conversation. One artist that I listened to a lot was Andy Mineo, who has a song called Clarity, which is the one that I used for this video that I want to show you. I I knew I wanted to make music videos, but like there's so many good songs out there that I really like. So how to choose, right? Like because the song itself completely affects every little editing decision in the video to fit the exact timing of the beats and lyrics to the song, you know. Now I can't remember for sure if I just thought the song was super catchy or would just work really well for something like this, or perhaps, and if I'm remembering right, that's true that a big part of it was because of just how well the lyrics themselves resonated with me in a lot of ways that I could use it as a way to express where I was at the time without, you know, having to use my own words. Now, I don't know, again, if I'll be even able to include the video because of the copyright, but so I may just, maybe I can just post part of it and you'll still get an idea of it. But, you know, the video itself may not even be, I don't know, may not even be that incredibly interesting to others, but it's just one of those things that it's super special and personal to me. But anyways, maybe I'll read some of the lyrics out to you to give you an idea of what I'm talking about with these, right? In going through these lyrics, I don't even know what all to highlight in particular, because honestly, like probably like most of the whole song is relevant to my heart and where my mind was at the time, right? In some way or another. I'm also not sure if I even fully understand some of the things he mentions, so that's, I think, maybe worth noting. But anyways, the song starts out with, sometimes you can just be in a funk creatively, or, you know, as a person, it's like there's a fog around you and you can't see out of it, but that's part of the journey. And then he says, undermanned, the son of man, or son of Sam, I'm somewhere in between the two, the meaning to. And I looked up what son of Sam was. He's like a serial killer, I guess, or something. So that's something. And then another lyric is, oh, I know, I need it too. Do I believe? Believe I do. On my faith walk, took the the scenic route. And then another one, rocky verses. I'm a person that's trying to believe I'm worth it. I'm working through it, but work is well work, but well worth it. It's hell at churches, still hell is working fine. What's that tell us? Fellas hurting. It's like melanin or crime. That's the elephant we hide. Truthfully, we probably lied. And he says, I'm telling me I'm fine. I know better. And a mind of doubt is to keep you open to God's revelations. When you don't doubt, you don't change. If you have to have finite answers to infinite questions, you're not going to move. And then, you know, Andy goes back to, yeah, I built my life on this, half my adult life, like unlearning lies that I heard in a dumb sermon. What I unearthed got me uncertain. More knowledge and more sorrow, worrying that never fix tomorrow. Just take away all my strength today. It was black and white, not paved with gray. And maybe that cloud that I've been stuck in, I construct it, I conduct it. Orchestra of noise, I don't hear your voice. I done made a choice, Mike assumption. And can't tell if I'm can't tell if lost. My mind or just made it lost. My faith or misplaced it lost. My pain or upgraded. Lost my happy thought, then I got jaded. Lost. Focus in my direction, lost. In details and perfection, lost. And then he says, all my faith in white Jesus and my leaders found. They aren't who I thought all these years found. They weren't even worthy of tears found. The opposite of faith ain't doubt. It's when I got it all figured out. Or it's when I get it all figured out, yeah. And then he says, some days it get in all my trust. Some days I can feel so empty. Some days I feel like you love me. Some days I feel like you left me. And then the woman speaking says, the second I'm furious with God, I'm tumbling close. because you cannot be furious with someone if they're not there, right? And of course, I do think it is very important to clarify that, again, I never didn't believe in God, so that line doesn't necessarily particularly resonate with me and my situation. But I do love that. I've always loved that line so much, because it's like, there's so much truth behind that. It's like all these people who are so mad at God, so mad at people for preaching God. It's like, claiming that it's a fairy tale. It's like, well, people who believe in literal fairy tales, they don't get arrested, they don't get hated and mocked, and it's these people are mad at a God they don't even believe in, right? It's craziness.